Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Westman Crafting Company. We finally are back at work, so I know it's been a little while since we posted a video, but we've been busy, as well as we've got some new equipment, so hopefully these videos will be a little bit better than they have been in the past. But we're doing another Absinthe video today. So Jonathan's with me. Today we're going to be doing Leopold Brothers out of Denver, Colorado. This is one of my personal favorites. Even after everything we've tasted to this day, I absolutely love this one.
It's super easy to sell across the bar, and because the aroma is so strong. The moment you
so
start to deluge, people across the bar want to know what's going on, what it smells like, what it is, because they can smell it, and it smells intoxicating.
Yeah, so fragrant.
Yeah.
Very floral and so good.
Like fruity and sweet. Most of that comes from the base. But what Leopold Brother does is they import pisco from Chile, and they use that as their base for the absinthe. So it's like, because it's a brandy base, it's already going to be super aromatic. The pisco brandy in particular is like really, really fruit forward and sweet on the nose, and it's like a powerhouse. Yeah, neat and bouche, it is a powerhouse aroma.
This one's clocking in at 130.
Yeah, 130 is to 65%. Leopold Brothers has, if you look up reviews for the absinthe, they are pretty typically good, but there is a lot of inconsistency or variation between the batches. The batch number is always on the bottom right of the label. This is batch, I think it's 116. Is that true? Yeah, 116.
That's something that I actually noticed the other day in the one side on Facebook, that someone had two separate batches that they were talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the most part, I think in my experience, it's fairly consistent now. I know early on in the run, back in 2008, I think they were having issues between the early batches of a lot of variation. This one is almost uniformly a gorgeous color. This one is a little bit darker colored than normally. They are a typical kind of classic fair absinthe. They are like almost a peridot green, gem-like, usually pretty clear. But this bottle, again, is a little bit browner than the last one that we had. This is probably from like seasonality of the herbs. I think that for the most part, what they're using is hyssop and melissa in the coloration process, and I think that hyssop has got a lot of variation. Also, this bottle has a lot of flocculate in it. Flocculate is kind of unfiltered chains of starches that can gather up in the still and in the spirit. It's hard to see unless you have this particular bottle in your hand, but there's like little tiny pillowy clouds like floating through the absinthe. If it sits on the shelf for a long time, they will start to gather in the bottom of the bottle. They'll kind of like rack out of the bottle. But we poured this so much, rarely does it have time to settle really that much.
This one is incredible.
Yeah, the Lucia is incredible. It's like a really, really pale, chalky color. It's like fairly green in the middle, like a really nice blue halo around the edge. The edge from the outside looks like super duper.
Especially that light coming through.
Again, super aromatic. I mean, it's like really a powerhouse absinthe. I mean, a classic review might say that the brandy is out of control, because what I smell is that, and not really wormwood or anything else. Again, from a sales standpoint, it really is useful, especially in a bar or like an on-premise situation. You just can't say no to it. It is so intoxicating.
Let's give it a taste.
Yeah, let's try
The texture of this one is It's not thin, but it's not as creamy
I
as some.
think it's kind of nice. Yeah,
it's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a lovely absinthe, really. It's like alluring. I think right away you notice sweet and lemon. I think it's like the number one and number two things.
Yeah.
Even before that wormwood starts to develop on the palate, the sweetness is coming obviously from the sugar that we added, but also from the brandy base.
Is it just me, or I feel like I get a little bit of like a mint flavor?
A ton of mint.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost reminding me of like a medical salve with like, you know, what's that? Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it.
I mean, it tastes like candy to me. Yeah, like a medicinal candy in a good way. That brandy is really like making all kinds of complications on the palate, but it is wormwood, mint, hyssop in the transition into the finish. There's a lot of like really clean hyssop. I think that's what lingers. It's kind of tingly. It's kind of chalky. There's not a ton of anethol, so that creaminess doesn't really like build up right away.
The finish is a little bit on the lighter side too. I feel like a lot of what you're getting is definitely in the front to middle of your palate. There's definitely doesn't have a bad finish. It's just not as
It's not lasting.
and not as exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A lot of anise fennel, classic. It was explained by this like really kind of perfect luge. Yeah, I mean, it is lovely. That brandy is really strong. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've tasted this one, although we serve and talk about it all the time.
Yeah. Me as well.
I just wonder what's going to happen if I open it. Yeah. Brandy bases are usually so temperamental with the ratio of dilution. Usually when you dilute brandy-based absinthe, the scale is not density to clarity or to weakness. Really what you're doing is you're trading brandy flavors when it's undiluted for botanical flavors when it's more diluted. So I'm just kind of curious what's happening. I kind of suspect the wormwood is like, I think that's the root of the spice comment that you made earlier, is the wormwood is probably distilled for a long time. Yeah, that's totally different. Much cleaner.
Yeah.
A lot more hyssop there. Hyssop, you will know, in two ways. Number one, it's almost always used in the coloration process, and it has like a nice, not quite forest green color. And they openly admit to using hyssop in the coloration process. But also it has kind of a chalky, clean texture if used heavily that really lifts the mid palate up. And you can find it as you transition into the finish. And that's really what I'm getting. It also has that kind of like floral, vaguely soapy quality that is like adjacent to angelica or coriander. It's just a little bit more verdant on that spectrum. And that's what kind of is lasting. That and Melissa, again, Melissa is the other coloration that coloring herb that they use, which has, it's lemon balm, so it has like a really nice soft lemon flesh quality. Those two things.
I can even smell the lemon balm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, there's.
Yeah, it's mint and lemon.
My dad's got a huge herb patch at his house, and there's mainly lemon balm. And
really?
It's just like exactly what it smells like.
So sweet. Really like. This would be great for beginners.
Yes, it's very approachable. And easy.
It is still super balanced. Like its plant profile is super balanced. You know, it's wormwood, anise, fennel, mint, hyssop, Melissa. Like that is pretty much the classic, or one of the classics sets. But there is this like really strong dialogue with the brandy as well. But for beginners, it's like, I would say, less licorice than more licorice.
Yeah, I agree.
It's sweet, super aromatic and fruity. Yeah, great for beginners. Would make probably a really nice, like, corpse reviver or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm.
So if you guys are interested, you should go out and pick up a bottle and give it a try and let us know what you think about it,
100.
whether you agree with us or disagree.
Just can't believe like the cloudiness. I'm curious what will happen down at the bottom of the glass.
Yeah.
It's just delicious. It's soapy.
I do get that.
It's kind of tart. All right. Yeah, I think as you get down in the bottle, down in the glass, obviously the palate is kind of fatiguing from certain chemicals, and you kind of find more reductive notes or more nuance as your palate becomes acclimated to other things. This one to me, it just tastes like lemon and mint, and it is like actually really pleasant. It's kind of like an herbaceous lemonade. It's tart. It's still super sweet. It's not as lean as a Swiss wormwood, but it is like really, really refreshing. I think would make a great cocktail. Certainly for the summertime, this is what you want to drink, no doubt about it. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woof.
It's even kind of, colors are coming out even more as you kind of get down.
Yeah, there's almost like a pinkish arc.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Mint. My gums feel like
I was gonna say
I've been chewing mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my palate is, my tongue is like
Blown.
Yeah.
Mine is too.
Just gone.
That is weird. I think it's that hiss of. It's not playing around. All right. Yeah. If you guys like this,
Definitely give it a thumbs up, and
subscribe for more.
any questions, post those in the comments below. But thanks for joining us again for another episode of Shift Drink. Until next
Cheers.
time, cheers.